guys, welcome back to my channel. So here is another episode of the Gypsy Rose journal that we have been working on together. So this is an old book. I can't remember now which episode we're actually up to, so I apologise now. There have been quite a few and I've now lost track of where we're actually up to. I think it might be episode 9, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So I've kind of roughly laid things, you know, approximately where I think we'll put them for this particular episode, so as we can kind of crack straight on with it. So I thought we'll work on this double page spread here, and I've just taken a couple of elements from the Gypsy Rose kit, and I thought we'll kind of have them like this. Now if I just try and hold that down to kind of demonstrate what I'm doing here. So on this one I have just taken a piece of coffee dyed paper, and then I've literally cut a length of it, and then I've folded it like this, kind of concertinaed, so that I can kind of glue it onto the back of this piece here, so that we can then kind of have it as a kind of fold up and fold down kind of flip there. So I think they're quite fun to do. So what we'll do, we'll start by gluing that on. So I've got my glue here. My glue is a little bit messy. It had got really clogged up, and then I've obviously had to unblock it, and in the end I actually had to cut a little bit off of the tip. So it's now oozing everywhere. So it's gone from one extreme to the other. It was completely blocked. I couldn't get any out at all. And now it's obviously oozing out literally everywhere. So that's that one. Just kind of glue that on like that. And then obviously this has been coffee dyed. This piece here, I haven't distress inked it or anything yet. So we'll do that now. So I'll just move the journal to one side. Tried to be a little bit more organised today with kind of my bits and pieces. Probably within about 5 minutes of doing this video, all my bits and bobs will be all over the place, which is how it seems to kind of go. Every week I kind of say, oh, I'm going to be a bit more organised, and then within literally 5 seconds of kind of doing the video, everything is everywhere. But I'm going to try my best to be a little bit more organised and a bit less chaotic. This one here, again, I have actually distress inked it already, if I recall. I'm just going to kind of darken it slightly more, like that. So bringing this back in. Now this here actually just fits perfectly across the page like that. I'm going to have it kind of slightly higher up, so that this one's down here. I might even pop that in the middle, just for a kind of different, you know, something a bit different to do. But I think what we'll do is start by sticking this piece down like a belly band. So I'm just going to literally glue it. Oops. Put the piece of paper down instead of the lid of the glue. I'm going to just literally glue it here, either side, like that. Sorry, that was my phone. I have to have it that loud because I'm not one of these people who kind of has their phone attached to them. And it's buried in my handbag, which is kind of beside me. And that's how loud it is, even buried in my handbag. But otherwise I haven't got a hope in, you know, a chance of actually kind of hearing it or anything else. Even now, quite honestly, I still, you know, even at that huge volume, still could miss it. Right, everyone's always complaining that I don't kind of pick up my messages in time and things like that, but I don't want to be kind of burdened by phones and what have you. So I'm just going to kind of press that down. Talking of which, I think I have said this before of late, but I really need to kind of you know, crack on with the Instagram thing. I know that obviously Instagram is very popular. I'm just going to literally kind of ink up the background a little bit of these pages, just so they're kind of a little bit more vintage looking. Yes, I know that Instagram is very popular, and when I first kind of launched my Etsy shop, which I'd had since September, 2013 or something, a really long time anyway, but I'd never really used it. I kind of, yeah, I kind of never had used it until September last year, so September 2017. And then I kind of launched it properly and have obviously tried to be, you know, properly kind of having it stocked all the time, and, you know, kind of launched my YouTube channel and things like that properly. And I kind of committed to my Instagram, and I kind of stuck with it for a few weeks, and then kind of got the better of me really, because it's quite hard kind of keeping up with everything, I think. But I should really kind of crack on, because I know that obviously Instagram is very popular, and, you know, it's a really kind of useful resource, isn't it, that, you know, I should really kind of embrace and use. But yeah, so far I'm a little bit sort of slack when it comes to Instagram. It's kind of one of those, you know, oh gosh, yet another thing to have to kind of keep up with. So yeah, I should really kind of keep up with it. So I'm just going to kind of look at decorating this little kind of fold down that we've got here. And literally I've just got some more elements here from the kit that I've already kind of fussy cut out ready, so that I'm not kind of wasting everybody's time endlessly. So we could just have a kind of another gypsy caravan there, so it's kind of literally really in keeping with what's underneath. So I think we might do that. So we'll just pop that on here. So I hope everyone's having a good week. The sun is shining here. It's a really beautiful day. I mean, it's kind of autumnal now, but today is very pretty. It's, you know, really bright and nice. Really, really lovely. Oops. And it will be half term before we know it. So looking forward to that. So just pop the gypsy caravan on here, and then what I want to do is obviously kind of decorate a little bit further, because for me this looks a little bit plain. So what we could do is kind of actually have a kind of lace banner there. And then what I'm wondering, now let me have a look through my trusty tin that always comes with me for these process videos, and just see whether I've got any paper clips in there that we could kind of make a paper clip here to hold this closed. Oh, don't tell me I haven't got any. I can only see very tiny ones, which might not quite be the thing. If I just kind of retrieve a tiny one just for the moment, and then we'll have a look. Oh, come on. Must have a big one in here somewhere. No, I honestly don't think I have, which is very annoying. Right, okay, well, we'll make do without then. Because what I was going to do was kind of make a paper clip to fasten this closed here. But failing that, what we'll do, cut a little bit of this trim across here. Oops. Swap my scissors, these are my very blunt pair. So we'll just literally pop that on across the top. Might have to actually wipe the end of that glue because it's very, very globby. Globby? I don't know. It's coming out quite a lot at the end. Right, so we've got that one there, which looks quite pretty. And then what we could do, I do always like a little bit of bling. So again, I mean, I just think this bling looks great wherever you put it. So I'm just going to cut a little tiny bit like that. Just have that kind of going across there. Hope I'm in frame, let me check. Okay. Oops. Come back. Oh no, it's got stuck in the crease. Okay. Like that. it's kind of glued here at this kind of crease. So that looks pretty. And then actually I've got these gorgeous coloured bows, which might look quite nice on this page because it just picks up this colour really nicely. So I might come back to that in a second. If we kind of go over to this page now, I'll just have a look in my little pile of supplies here that's to the side. So what we could do is we could kind of have a rose kind of somewhere here. Obviously if I ink that up it would look kind of better colour wise. And then, come on, where's all my little bits of trim and what have you? What we could do is possibly have a little bit of trim kind of going across the bottom, maybe kind of like that. So again, I'll just trim this off. Like that. And then I'm just going to trim off this bit, which if you've watched this series, I've tended to do this every time that I've used this trim, I think. Because it's just got this big kind of thick like seam, which I don't mind sometimes, but I'm not over keen in this book for some reason. You know, for me it kind of just spoils it slightly. I'm just going to ink up this rose so it's looking a little bit more vintage, just so it's kind of a bit more in keeping with the rest of the page. Ink up the leaf. Now I have got other colour leaves, so I mean actually it might be that this leaf is a little bit bright for this page, although now it's inked up it doesn't look so bad, but I have got these ones here that I haven't actually cut out yet, so just going to just snip that off. Just going to cut out this one here. Like that. Just because this one might be slightly better colour wise with this page. Okay. I'll just ink that one. Like that. And move that leaf to the side. So if I were to have this one here, like this, right there, could just pop this on here, obviously the leaf behind it. Yeah, I just prefer that colour, I think it just looks a little bit better, like that. So I might just kind of go for it and pop that down. So I'm just going to glue this with the hot glue, just so that we can be nice and quick. I'm just going to glue that like that. Oops, I just burnt my finger slightly on the hot glue. Like that. And we could obviously have this lace trim just here. I'm just going to ink this edge up slightly more, so it's a bit more kind of vintage looking. Oops. Just glue this lace trim down here. I had hoped to kind of do another couple of kits or the tag bags this week, but I haven't got round to it. I've done another project which I don't know when I'll get round to uploading, but hopefully, you know, not too much in the distant future. Yeah, so I haven't got around to doing those. That being said, I think there is actually one kit and one tag bag left in my shop. If you're kind of looking for those, they're kind of buried in amongst the other items really, but I'm sure that there is one kit and one tag bag left. So, you know, feel free to kind of pop across to my Etsy on Shabbydabbydoodah and just kind of have a look there. You know, if you're kind of looking for one. Okay, that's the leaves. Just pop the flower itself down, and I'm just using the hot glue because obviously it's just much quicker for the moment. But also it's quite nice to have a kind of raised item, if you see what I mean, because it just kind of then stands out a little bit more from the pocket itself there. So that looks pretty. And then, now I'm just wondering, do we want this kind of as flapping as that, if you see what I mean, or whether we want to kind of glue it slightly higher. I'll decide in a moment. But it might be that actually I could run some glue just here on this side, so it's a kind of side pocket. So I think that might be better. So I'm just going to literally run a bit of hot glue just down that one side, and then it's a kind of you know, pocket or tuck spot just in this side, which I think is kind of a little bit better than having it quite so flapping. Okay, so I've got that and that, and then just hold the pages. Come on, stay like that. Right, that's better. It's very annoying when they're constantly moving like that. Then down here, you could have this, and then the bow over here. I did bring along some fabric ruffle, just in case we wanted any of that. You see, I've been throwing things on the pile again, which, you know, that's just never a good thing, is it? To just keep on throwing things at the pile. But I haven't actually had any fabric ruffle in this book so far, which, gosh, that's like a first. Sorry, I'm just moving around on the chair there. That's a first, isn't it, to have not had any fabric ruffle in a journal. But I'm just holding this bow by the legs, and then we'll just glue that there to the side, like that. And then, oh, I've got hot glue strands everywhere, literally everywhere. I am covered in paint because I had painted a couple of the pages before I started filming. I'm covered in ink because I've been doing lots of inking this week. Literally, I've just got stuff everywhere all over me. Just the messiest grafter ever, I think. Right. So I might just pop that piece of diamante trim here, or maybe over there. Just love the diamante trim, it just looks so pretty anywhere that you put it. I just really like using it. So again, I'm just going to use my wet glue because, and if you've been watching my channel recently, I did say that although I had purchased my hot glue from the same seller that I've used before on Amazon for hot glue, you know, and previously was very happy with it, it's not been such good glue this time. It doesn't seem to want to stick so well. You know, so whether or not they've changed their supplier, I'm not really sure, but it sticks most things fine, but anything a little bit plasticky or kind of, you know, with a bit of a shiny, sheeny surface, it doesn't seem to want to stick. So I might pop that there to the side, actually. The side or the middle? What does everyone think? This is again where I could do with being live. Got some buttons there I could have. Now also, actually, I've just spotted I've got these flowers, which obviously mirror those. Could have these kind of somewhere. Maybe I could have them somewhere up the top. That looks a bit strange, doesn't it? Right. Go with your first instincts. I'm going to have that here to the side. To the side or the middle, come on. No, I'm going to have it in the middle. I don't normally like it quite so kind of symmetrical. But for some reason it's kind of calling me in the middle today. this one's been coffee dyed and things, so it's nice and vintage and rustic looking anyway. So it didn't really need kind of further inking or anything like that. It looks nice and vintage. So I've just popped her there. I do love the images in this kit. They're really pretty. For instance, I mean, this one here, this has got, and I don't know whether you can make it out on the film actually, but this here is a kind of gypsy kind of woman, and she's kind of playing music to another woman who's in the background. You can barely see her actually, you know, I can't. Probably most people can, but you know, she's kind of in the background. So it's really pretty, very delicate kind of image. So that's that page, and I think that's kind of just perfect as it is. I don't think it kind of needs any more. I think it's just right, just as it is. So that's that one. And then what I thought we'll do, obviously I'm going to, actually I'm just going to clip that with this small clip here, because I haven't got any large clips or anything to do an altered paper clip. And actually now that we've stuck everything down on the page, maybe an altered paper clip would be a bit much for this page anyway. It was actually, you know, though it felt like we didn't have to do a lot to bring the page together, there's quite a lot going on here. So maybe kind of just having a small clip down there is just right. So we've then got this blue page, got this one here. Now, I was really looking for another ivory page, but I was thinking kind of a thicker one. So maybe this one here. So what we'll do, and again, I've kind of prepared these, semi-prepared them so that I'm not literally taking up everybody's time, you know, with very basic things. So what I did, I took one of the background papers and I just literally, I've inked it up, I've cut it down to size, and then I've literally folded it like a wallet, like that, because what I thought we could do is obviously stick it down here so it's a kind of flip like that, which actually I'm now looking, we might be better off having it this way, because then you've obviously got the book that you can kind of lean on, which might just work out a little bit better. So we've got that one. Now obviously, as I say, I have already inked it and everything, so it's all kind of ready to go. I haven't got my corner rounder, unfortunately. Otherwise I would have probably rounded the corners on this, but you know, never mind. We, you know, have to kind of make do with things, because I think I said last time, I'm trying my hardest to kind of bring slightly less to the table every time that I do these videos, because otherwise I'm here for such a long time just bringing all my things in. So, you know, it really becomes a little bit kind of much just to do a kind of 40-minute video, bringing quite so much onto the table. So what I thought we'd do, obviously we're going to have it like this. Now the choices here are, do we use some string here that we could obviously tie this up? You know, if you watch my channel regularly, I'm sure you know that I absolutely love tying things up. You know, I think they're just really cute. So what we could do is obviously use some string, tie it up in the middle. Or what we could do is kind of stick it down like a pocket or a belly band. And then we could actually do an altered paper clip. Let's do that. Except I haven't got any paper clips. Oh no. Right. Okay. So we're going to have to kind of muddle through. So what I'm going to do first of all, I think, is actually stick this down as the belly band. So I'm going to ink the page slightly. And I did, oops, that's quite very dark. I did say that I was going to kind of ink the pages up after the book, which I will still do for those that we haven't inked, which, you know, are many, because I actually only started inking them, I think, last week. You know, prior to that, I kind of wasn't really inking them because I just thought I'd do it, you know, one night watching TV after the journal's kind of finished, but I might as well just kind of crack on a little bit now. So there we go. Now, if you can see here, what's happened, the pages have stuck together slightly, where obviously when I'd painted it, it wasn't quite dry and the pages kind of stuck together. So hopefully we're going to cover that up, but I mean, if not, it doesn't worry me. So I just wanted to point that out because it maybe would bother some people. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this down either end like this. I'm going to use my wet glue for this because this is actually only paper, it's not card or anything. So I'm just going to use the wet glue like that. Just going to stick it here like that. And then we'll just kind of press it in, well, making sure that it's nicely stuck. Now we best make sure it's still straight because it did slip slightly. Okay, that's kind of good enough. Hopefully, sorry, it's my phone again. My phone, honestly, it never rings, it never makes any noise. So this is kind of the irony again of doing a video and, you know, then obviously it's suddenly kind of making all sorts of noise and looks like I'm constantly getting messages and things, and really I'm not. So right, just going to kind of, you know, hold it together like that for a few moments. Now just going to see if I have anything else in my tin that I can, and look, hey, I've actually found a paper clip, which is awesome because now we can actually create the large paper clip. So that's fantastic news. So, right, we're going to leave that kind of drying, and then what we're going to do, we're going to create a paper clip that we're going to kind of hold this closed like that. So again, what I'm going to do is just have a little sort through my small bits that are here. So I've got all sorts of little bits and bobs here. I'm wondering about this piece, which looks, you know, just perfect shape for kind of a paper clip. I've also got this little oval, which, you know, she's kind of rather nice, isn't she? We could have a rose on there. We could have a yellow one because we've got obviously yellow on the facing page. Now, obviously, I don't want to kind of take up all amounts of time going through this. You know, if I were on my own, I would be sorting through these painstakingly, kind of making sure I have the right one. But I don't want to obviously kind of zap into everybody's time unnecessarily. So I'm just going to go with my instincts and we're just going to kind of get on with it. So what we could do is, if we kind of just arrange this around how we might like it. And I'm just kind of thinking that obviously if we're having this over here, it's quite nice to have a bit of yellow going on somewhere. You know, so whether we have some yellow down here and maybe this kind of rosebud there. So again, I'm going to move that to one side. I'm just going to ink this up. Like that. Lots of ink, make it look really nice and vintage. And then what I might do to kind of add a little bit more texture, I love kind of doing this, I just kind of literally rough up my edges. You know, it doesn't matter if I tear them or anything, I just think they're really kind of cool when you do this. So I'm just going to literally rough around them like that. Get a bit more ink on where I've now roughed up the edges. There we go. Going to ink up this oval one. Obviously this is brown, so you know the kind of ink isn't necessarily showing up that brilliantly, but just kind of like that. There we go. We'll ink up this rosebud, which just kind of again make it look nice and vintage. Okay, so then what we can do, if I move those bits out of the way, I've got a little bit of book page here, so we could just tear a little tiny bit off like that, because obviously this is only a small piece, so you know, you don't really need a kind of massive piece of book page there. So that looks quite nice to me. So I'm just going to literally ink this up slightly, just the kind of little bits that are going to be showing. Going to glue it down. Like that. Oops, the glue's now oozing out a little bit more. I'm just going to check what the time is. Okay, it's 31 minutes. Now, when I first started doing this series, I was determined to kind of keep this at half-an-hour sections or half-an-hour episodes. I'm finding that a struggle, I will be honest, because obviously, you know, you can't achieve that much in half an hour in crafting terms, I find. So kind of as soon as I'm getting in the swing of things, you know, the time's kind of passing. So I know that the last couple of episodes that I've done have actually been beyond. I think they've been about 45 minutes. So we might have to kind of extend the episodes to 45 minutes, if that's okay with you guys. Please let me know below if that's just awful, you know, if that really is not going to work for people, and I will try harder to stick to 30 minutes. It's just that obviously, you know, it feels like obviously I'm kind of dragging things out by doing it in half-an-hour episodes, and maybe it doesn't feel like that to you guys, but to me it kind of feels a bit like, oh gosh, you know, this is only half an hour. You know, once a week, it's kind of like dragging on for you watching, and it must be kind of getting boring to watch. You know, and yeah, it's kind of disappointing, I guess, for me, making the things to not be kind of cracking on faster, if that makes sense. So I'm going to glue this down here. So yeah, but do let me know, you know, if you think that that's really not going to work for you guys. I mean, obviously, if I get lots of comments and they're saying different things, I can't please everybody, if that's okay. But yeah, I'm hoping that kind of 45-minute-ish maybe will kind of work for people, and, you know, it's not kind of too lengthy that it will be really obtrusive into people's lives. But having said that, it is a little bit more, kind of make a little bit more progress, if you see what I mean. So here we go. So I just then, while I was nattering on, I don't think I really said what I was doing, but I just took some of the coffee dyed neck curtain that I love using, and I've got kind of plenty of, and I've just cut a piece out to layer this up onto. Now, for speed, I should really kind of do it with the hot glue, but I'm going to kind of go with the wet glue, I think, which is now running out. Obviously it's running out because it's kind of all poured out all over everywhere. I have got a new one, but again, it's downstairs. So I haven't actually got it with me. Right, so we've got that there. So I'm just going to again take the tissue, press it down, make sure it's kind of nice and firmly stuck down. Okay, now what I might do is kind of pop that there to one side for a moment, and while we're waiting for that one to dry, we could crack on with the facing page. So for the facing page, we made this in one of the earlier episodes. I am just going to literally glue this as a kind of pocket or a tuck spot. So it's all been distress inked. We did this before. Distress inked, I've added a butterfly and a rosebud, some lace trim and a bit of diamante. And oh look, I actually did leave the seam on, so I'm going to cut that off here. Not that it mattered, but just because I have on the other pages, I'm going to cut it off of this page here now as well. So we've got that like that. Now, as I say, I have got this slight tear in the page, so I'm going to just kind of tear off the bits that are straggly, you see what I mean? So it's kind of laying flat, and then just kind of ring over that. There we go. And then I'm just going to kind of glue this down. Now, whether or not we glue this as a kind of tuck spot or a pocket is the question. But I think we're going to go, I think we'll kind of glue it in the middle. And I think we'll just glue it down one side like that. Now obviously this book, you know, it's massive. It's got tons of space for popping, you know, journaling cards and pieces of paper and what have you, because on the edges of most of these pages, not all of them, but a lot of them anyway, they are pockets. So, you know, you really have got a ton of journaling space. So, you know, if you're kind of watching thinking just covering most of the pages up, you've got these big pockets in the side that you can fold things in and kind of pop, you know, extra journaling items. So, you know, don't be alarmed and kind of think, oh no, she's covering up most of the pages, you know, because you have still got obviously a lot of journaling space on there. So on here, I'm just going to take back, this was just that scrap of card that I cut from the leaves that I fussy cut out just now. And then all I'm going to do is literally cut it down. I hope it's going to be wide enough. And then I'm going to take the paper clip here. I'm going to undo, so move this to one side. Right, bring the book back. Let me check I'm in frame. Okay, so now I'm going to, just checking again, for some reason I don't seem like I'm so high up. That's fine. I had some of the box in the way, so I apologise. I hope that wasn't too distracting. Right, I'm going to take off the clips that are holding this down, kind of gluing it into place like that. And then what we're going to do, because we're going to use this then as the paper clip, so I'm just going to dab off any excess glue there from the back, because obviously we did just wet glue that, so it is quite gluey. Just going to dab it on the front, make sure that the items are kind of properly glued down. Now we've got a rosebud here that we're going to probably glue on there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to literally just make this paper clip. So I've taken the plain rectangle. Now this is just exactly as I made them in my tutorial for the altered paper clips that we did using the Matchbox tops. And literally I've just got a rectangular piece of card. I've popped the long edge of the paper clip here onto the card. And then all I'm going to do is literally, I'm going to kind of glue around here so the paper clip's nicely glued on. And then we're going to glue it down onto our piece here, like that. And I'm just going to press it on like that. Okay, so that's our paper clip. I love how that looks, really, really pretty. And then what we're going to do, oh, I've picked up a lot of glitter here, which will all come clear when you see one of my other process videos that I did when I upload that. So, well, excuse the glitter, but actually it maybe adds a little something. So I'm not going to actually paper clip this down because obviously, you know, this is still wet on the back where I have obviously just stuck it onto the lace. But essentially what we're going to do is obviously paper clip this, oops, here at the side. Well, it's very tricky to do this when I'm trying not to kind of disturb the wet glue too much. We're going to paper clip that onto the side to hold this booklet shut. I'm going to just add this little rose here to the side, just to add a little bit of kind of gold, which actually I'm going to do that with the hot glue just for speed. So again, just go up into those leaves because otherwise they might be a bit kind of long and hanging. There we go. And that's it. So when you take this paper clip off, again, as I say, I'm not going to leave that on there because this is drying. But you know, once it's dry, that's how that will be, is holding this booklet shut. You take the paper clip off, and then you've got just this little fold out kind of flip, which I love. And then behind there, obviously what you can do, I grab one of the large items from the kit. I'll just grab something here. Oh, come on. I'm kind of stuck together in here, and I'm trying to find one that's just right. So we've got this one here. It just needs a bit of distressing on the back. We'll just kind of distress that slightly on the back. Like that. Okay. Move this piece out of the way. And then what you can do is obviously pop this in like a journaling card. So you've got obviously a pocket here, under there, you've got your journaling space here, and then you've got obviously this little booklet here, and then you've got your paper clip. Oops, that holds it all shut together. Oh, come on. But obviously just holds it shut like that. And then on this side, you've obviously got another tuck spot that you can pop something else under there. So love how that page looks. Really, really, really love it. And obviously the other page that we did was this one here with, again, a little kind of folding flip out there. So yeah, that's another couple of pages done in this book. I'm just going to kind of take that off so it's not kind of gluing against there. And I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm just going to move obviously my tray out the way for another episode. So thank you very much for watching, and you know, hope that you all enjoyed it, and see you next time. Thanks very much then. Bye.